why privatize public school system? And the basic argument in support of it is that we should do this to encourage the free market system to produce a highly educated student. Because when the free market system is permitted to work, that means when the government analyzes how much it costs each student in public school to keep that student in school, when we find out how much it costs per year, then the government can cut a check for that exact amount to the parent of that child and let that parent choose an independent private school to attend. And of course we would have to have regulations that would say, well, private schools, you cannot charge any more than the allotted amount that the government pays you to educate these children. What this would do, now the payment that you make the teachers, if you privatized the public schools, the teachers could be paid more. Because there would be a need for less teachers. Of course, this would arouse the National Education Association unions. It would arouse all these state-appointed teachers in a negative way. It would be like experiencing an unnatural homosexual experience with someone of the same sex. It would take these teachers and make them have to teach more better. They would have to teach better to compete in a privatized system. It wouldn't cost any more, but it would raise the level of education. Another thing privatization of school would do, it would let freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of political views. It would let the various viewpoints in life that were opposed to each other, it would let all opposing viewpoints be emphasized in that particular school's educational curriculum. And so you would have a nation that was full of diversity instead of the old curriculum that the National Education Association sets out for your child to believe in. For example, multiculturalism. The idea that we all come together to become one. All the races, the religions, the cultures all come together to become one. That's what the American dream is all about, according to the NEA, and this is what they teach your children. There's no difference in black, white, brown. And if you privatized the public schools, this teaching would be thrown out because, well, white schools that wanted to have only white kids, like us people who support the Knights of the Ku Klux Klan, and us other white people who believe white males should rule supreme, we don't want our children going to school with non-white people. And we want the right to live in a nation that lets us create our own curriculum for our children instead of having the NEA dictate this filthy multiculturalism and white guilt. Another thing the educational system does is it promotes the idea that women should leave the home as housewives and mothers and get out into the world and get a hold of get a grasp on their own lives and take control and get equal pay a man has. Well, if you had privatized schools, then the old school could be taught where women were taught that the best place for them, the way God created it, was that they would be housewives and mothers, and that working was a man's job. So, if you tried to teach these things to kids in school today, you would be run out on a rail, you would be called a sexist or racist. And another thing is, if you privatized the public schools, then the Jewish kids could go live in there, could go to school with their Jewish kids, and the Muslim kids could go to school with the Muslim kids, and the Christian kids could go to school with the Christian kids. And you would have true diversity. Diversity in a nation, of course, always splinters and separates the divisive groups into their own groups, and eventually these groups raise up to create their own nations. And America eventually will split into three different nations racially. Your whites will go for an all-white nation, your Negroes will go for an all-Negro nation, and your Indian wetbacks, etc., will go with their own all-brown nation. And that's the same way with Christianity, Judaism, and Islam. So truly, the public school system is just, it's holding back progress.